honestly, I thought that the time in my life was going to be this dark black hole that would never serve any purpose. But it ended up being a massive feature of what we made a film out of. And when so many people saw it, it ended up being this incredible source of light to a lot of people. And it made for a great journey and story that actually now I'm so glad it all happened. And it planted the seeds for what I would even do later, because once I survived that, I felt almost grateful to be alive, and I felt like I had a new chance at life. So it's funny how those really difficult times of living create all that material for later.
And also imagine if you had just stayed the good boy and you had followed the kind of path that was laid out as the blueprint for success, and you had done everything right and kept your house clean and detailed your car, just how you would have felt by the age of 40 when all the opportunity to do that had passed you by. I think that's the tragedy, is when you reach middle age and you realize that you've been the altar boy all that time. And it's too late to be the kind of acting out bad person who has those experimental experiences.
But Chuck, I almost died. So how far do you push it?
Okay, almost. And that's what I tell people. I say, have fun, choose your friends really poorly, have your adventures, just don't die.
You say that, but if you don't get close, then you're not doing it. And a lot of times you don't have a choice.
And, I come from a kind of a punk aesthetic. And that is that if you don't go too far at some point in the work, you will kick yourself. You will regret having not gone there. Because someday you're going to be an old person and you're going to be shaking your head and saying, why didn't I put that line in? That really line. I was so afraid of offending people. I was so afraid of, being thought poorly of. Why didn't I just do it? There's that line in Fight Club where Tyler and Marla have sex for the first time. And I thought that the most romantic thing you could say is, I want to have your baby. So the Marla character, being who she is, she says, oh, Tyler, I can't wait to have your abortion. And that was the line that just drew lightning bolts. Everyone hated that line. But that line had to go in there because there has to be something that goes too far. Otherwise, you regret, and the whole project just feels like garbage afterwards because you compromised.
And it's funny, as an old man, you'll always look back on that and think, why was I so worried the world was going to end and my career was going to end? Because clearly it wasn't. The old man always knows it wasn't, but the young man is always worried about that time, right?
And I think if I can, as an old guy, if I can talk about social media, I think young people are even more aware of public perception. They're not occupying the kind of creative vacuum that somebody like Thoreau did, or somebody like Bernard Shaw did when he moved to Ireland and gave up his banking career. They're not getting this kind of isolation in a hut that is really needed to develop your own voice, because you're always too aware of what the world might say or what the world is saying.
Yeah, so it's stifling creativity, growth.
Right. Yeah. If people let it. I remember when I first started writing, I would unplug my telephone, and my friends were so angry. They thought it was so rude that someone would unplug their telephone and be unreachable for 2 or 3 hours at a time. And now I think about it, we're so much more connected that unplugging your telephone seems like nothing.